She is one of the best known celebrity fitness gurus and has been giving out tips on what to eat and what to do to keep yourself healthy while you are locked in. We're a nation of 1.3 billion people trying to keep ourselves safe through social distancing. So while you find yourself within the four walls of your house, can you utilize this time to get something positive out of it? Can you set yourself a challenge where at the end of this 21 days, you are fitter and healthier? Well, sharing some of those tips with us this evening is Rujuta Diwekar. Rujuta, great to have you on the show. And thank you so much for speaking to us today as well. While you are at home locked in, and so am I. But we'll try and get some information together which will help all of our viewers. Great to have you on.
Thank you very much, Tamanna. Great to be back on your show, and I'm just watching what's happening to the markets. I think it's a great time to be indoors, and time is something that we always grudge. We either have too much of it or too little of it. So now that we have, I think, just the right amount of time, it's truly the time to start investing in exercise. Because I think our health comes through. In bad times, health comes through. Wealth, as we are seeing, is kind of, I don't know where it's going right now, but health comes through in bad times.
Okay, so let me get through what exactly we can do. And I've been seeing that you've been, posting a lot of videos. You've been posting diet guidelines, etc. But let me start with the fitness part of it. So obviously now gyms are shut. People's walks, runs, all of that is, not possible right now. Plus, you tend to get more sedentary because you're at home, you're in front of your TV or your screen, etc. What can you do to make sure that this lockdown doesn't mess with your health?
There's plenty that you can do. First of all, for every 30 minutes of sitting, stand at least for 3 minutes. I think that's one of the things that everyone needs to start doing. A whole lot of your viewers are, I think, men, and another thing that men can truly do right now is start going to the kitchen, cooking, prepping for meals, and cleaning up post everyone has eaten, because those are great activities to do, and it's a wonderful time to be at home, and to allow the whole family to know that you are a worthy resource even when you are locked in at home. So break your sitting, work in the kitchen, work at doing your own jobs yourself, whether it's washing clothes or sweeping the house or making your bed. All of that is going to help you. And then more importantly, there is always Surya Namaskars to fall back on. So what I've been doing in my videos is I've posted a video on Surya Namaskar, I've posted a video on what you can do if you have a bad back or bad knees. I've posted a video on squats and lunges, because there's a lot that one can do from home. All that it needs is really some time and creativity, and really the ability to unleash the child within. Then you will find multiple ways to just stay fit and active.
Rujuta, a lot of people I've been speaking to, and on the show a few days ago, we spoke to mental health experts, and they talked about putting aside a fixed amount of time per day to actually focus on physical activity. Do you think that that's the need of the hour, and what are the kind of things people can do even in confined spaces? Because you suddenly have the entire family at home at the same time, and most people's houses are not very large.
Yeah, that's true. I think yoga is a great activity that everyone can do together. Putting some time aside and surely doing your exercise is important. In fact, I think during this time it's important to kind of put yourself into a routine, because if you wanted to, you could sleep in until noon, you can stay up until 4 a.m. But all of that is going to really mess up with your health way before the virus does. The whole point of staying indoors is to ensure that the virus doesn't get to you. But then while you're indoors, you also need to ensure that just plain lethargy and boredom doesn't get to you. What I have been doing is also using this book. It's a BKS Iyengar book, Light on Yoga, and it has like a week by week plan of how you can go about doing your asana practice, and it has a full-fledged description of how to get into every asana and how to get out of every asana. I think this is a good time for most people to get this book. People can also get this book online. They can also read my latest book, the 12-week fitness project. There are plenty of ideas in there about how to keep fit and active. But yes, like I said, doing household chores, making time for exercise, and ensuring that everything gets a timetable. Have your lunch on time, have your breakfast on time, have your dinner on time. I have also released a 7-day quarantine plan last Sunday, just to help people plan with their cooking, because a whole lot of times when you're indoors, you really run out of ideas about what is it that you should be cooking, or you could be panic buying because you're
Yeah.
unsure, um, where your perishables like fruits and vegetables are going to come from. But I feel that this is also a great time to really rediscover that there is so much in terms of nutrients, tastes, and dishes that we can make just out of our grains, millets, and pulses. And those we have, we do have adequate amount of it in most homes, at least to last us for the next 20 to 21 days. And every state government and central government is ensuring that there is access to food supplies any which ways, so there's a lot that we can cook. This is a good time to re-establish our connect with our heritage recipes, so that we get all the micronutrients that we otherwise seem to get only from our vegetables and fruits.
So, Rujuta, actually, I wanted to come to you on the food and the diet part first. A lot of people are on some kind of diet or the other. Right now, for everyone, it's kind of a reality check in a sense to get essentials in place first. So, people who were looking for, avocado with their breakfast, really, right now, perhaps have got a reality check that let me get my basics first. Do you think it's possible to have a healthy, nutritious diet even under these circumstances? What are the broad sort of contours of the diet that you would suggest, or the parameters, the tips that you would give?
Well, I think for once we need to understand that our frontline workers or our essential services very much include farmers and the people who make our food supply chain. So the truck guy, the loader, your neighborhood sabzi wala. All of these people are extremely important when it comes to our health and well-being. The farmer, of course, and a whole lot of times we don't seem to credit them enough. It's always going to be a lot of limelight for health is taken away by health professionals, but it is really these people who keep our health and well-being in a good place. So, I think it's a good time to really be grateful for all the stuff, all the work that these people do, and especially the farmers do. And then to know that food isn't about carbohydrate, protein, and fat. It isn't about calories either. In fact, if you looked at our instinctive response to the word lockdown, what we actually went and did in was panic shopping. So what we actually did was ensure that we have adequate calories to last out for the next 21 days. So calories, carbs, and fat is not such a brilliant way of looking at food. What matters is to really re-establish that connect with food and to understand that food is about nurture, it's about strength, it's about survival, it is about its ability to fight infections, and to really just go back to our basics and to eat food that is local, seasonal, and traditional, or local, seasonal, and something that we connect to culturally. So, breakfast of berries and yogurt or avocado, and dinners of quinoa and kale soups and asparagus soup is not going to see us through. What's going to help us is the usual humble stuff like the poha, upma, paratha for breakfast, the roti sabzi for lunch, the dal chawal for dinner, the singdana, the mamra as mid meals. So that's the stuff that's going to keep us going. That's going to really help us stay satiated and also strong enough to fight infections.
Rujita, how much ever you try, the fact is that if you are at home locked in, your movements, your expenditure of energy, physical energy at least, not mental energy, but physical energy is going to be relatively less. Should you be re-looking at how much food you're consuming in tandem with that, because you will be moving about a lot less?
There is no such thing as calories in and calories out. That mathematical equation has been dumped by science long ago. In fact, The Economic carried an article saying the calorie is officially dead. So, world over, even the mainstream media is now aware of the fact that you can't, you don't, the shape or the size of your body is not decided by the calories that you consume and the calories that you expend. That doesn't mean that you eat everything that comes your way, and that also doesn't mean that you can just lay around or lie around in your bed doing nothing at all. It is important to stay active. Staying active is a choice. Like I said at the beginning of your program, for every 30 minutes of sitting, one must stand at least for 3 minutes. Do all the chores yourself. Start cooking your own meals, and work at understanding that as long as you're actually cooking your meals at home and you're eating fresh home cooked meals, what is going to happen at the end of 21 days is that you would have become fitter, leaner, and I also feel a little more relaxed and rejuvenated than what people are currently feeling. So it's really about how we put this time to good use.
Two things that I want to just get your take on, which is likely to happen or easy to traps to fall into. One is binge watching and binge eating. These are tough times. People really don't know what to do, and that is when you reach for things that make you feel good. These are two things that generally make people feel good. How do you avoid falling in those traps?
I think by realizing that they don't make us feel good for too long. I have not met anyone who who goes on binge eating and then feels great about themselves for the rest of their lives. In fact, they begin to feel guilty and trapped and frustrated and unworthy within 5 minutes of binge eating. So it's a good time to remind yourself of that, that no one felt better at the end of binge eating. If you must binge eat, make it yourself. And by making it yourself, I mean it's not about opening packets and cooking things. It's really about start from scratch. That way it's a good time for the whole family to come together, for the kids to learn some of your traditional recipes. It's a good way to engage children too, and cook and share the meal together as a family. So maybe if you're thinking about binge eating, then try shankarpada or a chakli or a homemade chivda or a paratha. That way you won't go beyond what your body can really digest, because as a family, there's only little that you can cook. A thumb rule during a time like this is to not gorge on the cookies and the biscuits and the chips and stuff. So don't bring packaged food from outside and keep eating it. And as far as binge watching goes, I think we need to remind ourselves that it looks like a 21-day lockdown, but we don't know for how long this is going to go on. And they have stopped all kinds of shooting, right? So there is only that much content which is already streaming. So I think it's also some time to be disciplined about it. And what I do for myself is, I have self-regulated, so I don't watch more than 2 episodes of anything on a particular day. So that's something that people can adopt. Because the more you watch, the more you sit. The more you sit, the unhealthier you get.
Just one last question, Rujuta. You always have a social message. You're one of those few people who've not talked about diets in terms of just the food, but also where it comes from, the sustainability. We are in a situation where a lot of our fellow Indians are in a worse condition than many. Farmers are among them, migrant laborers are among them, workers are among them. What do you think those who are relatively okay and privileged can do to help out at this point when essentially you're locked out in your homes?
think one of the things that we can do amongst the easiest things is to like go back to getting more local produce, because that is something which will immediately help the farmer. And when things are better, I guess just source almost everything more locally, so that trade of all kinds is patronized by people who may have the privilege or who have the ability to spend on it. But this is also the time where the mango begins to ripen, especially in Ratnagiri district of Maharashtra. And mango is also a fruit which is loaded in nutrients. So I'm really hoping that Maharashtra government has all of their, you know, food supply chains in places, so that the right crop actually reaches urban areas. And you know how a fresh mango makes people feel, it just makes them feel great, and it's also loaded in nutrients, so it's also something which is going to boost up their immunity, and still help them feel light, and help them accelerate their fat loss. So I guess, yeah, one can only do what a little bit, that we can patronize more local stuff, and ensure that your governments are also helping everyone who actually needs help. And I'm happy that our government is trying to reach out to everyone who's in need.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Rujuta.
Thank you
Great
very
to
much.
speak to you, not in person this time, but through technology. And hope to see all of us fresher, brighter on the other side of this.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on your show. Bye.
Bye. So that was Rujuta Diwekar giving us some idea of how to sustain yourself mentally, physically, diet-wise through these 21 days. We're going to keep bringing you different ways to see you through this and covering all aspects of this unprecedented challenge. We're in this one together. With that, I want to thank all of you for joining us this evening on the India Development Debate. I will see you back here on Monday.